And go full screen. And let's share screen. And hopefully it works. Is it working? I think it's working. All right, so let me start it so we can watch it in the back of the room. And like this. All right, so we are starting a new thing today. Please follow along if you can. We are starting technical drawings or drawing files. The point of drawing files is to communicate your ideas. In Inventor, if you have some part you designed and you want to show it to your client or that's not the right thing. Let's go ahead and close that. Well, that's not anything else. If you have a client who has asked you to design something for them, you can't send them an Inventor file. You can't assume somebody has Inventor to look at your work. So what you do is you make a technical drawing, which is sort of the equivalent of a blueprint. Now, this falls under the category of, communication, technical communication, and you're communicating your ideas. Okay. And what these are going to look like, and of course, we will spend plenty of time talking about them. And there's a lot of like details that we need to go over, but the basic idea is that you're creating a document, essentially a piece of paper. This is a flat surface, or not even a surface, where you communicate the size of different parts or features, as it were. And I'm going to try and figure out how to edit dimension style, I think. Text. What's up,
It's the
bud?
same one you sent before, or is it a new one?
Same one. Uh, Thank you. So, which is it this one? No, sorry, folks. I need to I'll figure out how to. Is this it? No. Okay. Well, either way, when I figure out how to make the actual dimension size large enough to see from across the room, it'll make more sense. But the idea is that we're putting dimensions on things to communicate how big something is, specifically for the purpose of somebody being able to recreate it. Okay. For the purpose of sending this document to someone and they will know not just how big it is overall, but how to recreate it and either to like approve it, assuming you have some client, or to send it to a manufacturer so they can recreate it. And it is up to the engineer to make sure that enough information is included on the technical drawing in order to recreate the item that you are trying to design. And I had this yesterday. I can't remember which setting. I'll figure it out later. Okay. And this is what our standard dimensions are going to look like, or excuse me, our standard technical drawings are going to be this set of views: a front view, a top view, a right side view, and what's called an isometric view. And we'll talk about that shortly. Okay, so the place that you put the dimensions on a drawing are important. And the key is that you need all of the dimensions needed in order to recreate the object that you're designing, but also not more than needed because every extra line you put on a technical drawing is one more chance for it to be confusing. The whole point is about, there we go. The whole point is about making it neat so that whoever is looking at it, whoever it's intended for, doesn't mistake what dimension some part feature is. Okay, so first let's look at some of the guidelines, and all of these are available on the calendar spreadsheet. Okay, so the guidelines is going to be your best bet, and of course, we're going to do a bunch as a bunch of them together. Okay, so some of the main guidelines, excuse me, like I said, the whole idea is about not having more lines on the document than you need. Okay, more dimensions than you need. It's called over-dimensioning. And that's what's going on here. We have the total width is shown here on the front view, and it is also shown on the top view, which is duplicate, which is redundant. It's not necessary. And I don't know why my full screen is acting the way it is, but here we go. Okay, so you could see this first dimension here, or the total width dimension, is 2 inches wide. And that's what is being shown on the top. We don't need both. That is over-dimensioning. That is redundant. Okay, same thing. All these red ones are repeated on different views. You don't need them on different, you don't need the same dimension, and not just the same number, but dimensioning the same thing doesn't need to occur on multiple views. Okay, each one of these is called a view. This is a front view. This is a top view. This is a right side view. And like I said, this is an isometric view. You don't need multiples on each. Okay, you don't need multiple dimensions. Okay, another way to over dimension is by adding implied dimensions. Okay, if you know the total width is 2, and you know the distance from this side to here is 0.75, and then from that point to here is 0.75, you can figure out the difference between this edge right here and the whole thing is 0.5. You don't need that 0.5. If a line isn't needed, if a dimension isn't needed, you don't put it on there. Okay. When in doubt, we want to put things to the view that has the contour. Okay, the contour is the shape of the object, like the outer edge of the object. And can this zoom out? There we go. Okay, so on this particular shape right here, we have on the front view, you can see that the let's go like this. You can see the shape of the object goes like this. Okay, this adds information to what the actual shape looks like. On the top view, you can't tell what's going on at these edges. Okay, it could be a slope up, it could be a curve up, it would look the same. But on the front view, you can see that there is a contour, which is why we want to actually put the dimensions there on the view that has the information. Okay. Okay, we don't want to dimension the hidden lines. Okay, hidden line, it might be ambiguous what that hidden line is pointing to, where if we put it over here on the front view, it's clear it's pointing to an edge or dimensioning to an edge. Okay, avoid dimensioning over or through the object. We want all of our dimensions. Now, first we need to get clear on terminology. The dimension is how far it is, like from the left edge to this point right here is 1.5 somethings, probably inches. That its dimension is 1.5, but the dimension is also the entire like extension lines and the number and the arrows. So we put a dimension on there to show its dimension in all three dimensions. So yeah, that's fun. But either way, we don't want our dimensions to be on the object. Anytime lines cross, there's the chance of confusion. Anytime things are on top of each other, chance of confusion, which is why we have all these conventions, these standards for where to put things. Okay. We are never going to attach extension lines to two views. Now, almost all this stuff, like this one in particular, it's handled for you. It doesn't, there's not really any way to do it in Inventor, but I suppose back when we were doing it on paper, there's a chance somebody might have made that mistake. Okay. When in doubt, and I have a hierarchy of what's worse. So we do want, whenever possible, we want the dimensions to be between views. And the reason for that is if the view is, excuse me, if the dimension is, if the dimension is between the view, like in this general area, it is a little bit closer to the top view, which is what this is dimensioning. Okay, so it does add a little bit of information or sort of prevent the chance of confusion. Okay, we don't want, again, crossing extension lines. Extension lines are the thin lines that go out to the arrows. We want to avoid crossing those. And whenever possible, we don't want the extension lines to go on top of the object. Okay, the object or the view is, its perimeter is the object line. Okay, circles by diameter, arcs by their radius, and that is done automatically in Inventor, so that's nice. And center points, size and location. We'll get to this more. Dimensions where it looks like a circle, and that goes back to the idea of dimensioning where it's a contour, and we're not terribly concerned about all that circle stuff. Okay, the hierarchy of what I call the hierarchy of dimensioning sins, meaning if you have the option of dimensioning to a hidden line versus crossing extension lines is worse. And we will use this sort of hierarchy to pick the one that is less bad. Okay, all of these are to be avoided, but not putting between adjacent views is better than putting your dimension on top of or inside of the view. Okay, just don't do. We don't need to over dimension. If you didn't, oh wait, no, here it is. The mantra. If you didn't need the dimension when you built it, you don't need it in the drawing. In fact, you can kind of, well, you pretty much go to the part file, figure out what dimensions you need to make it, and those are all of the dimensions you need to put on the drawing, which, you know, it's sort of self-evident. Okay, so for our, you'll get into the pattern of how we do this. Okay, we're going to start at the left and work right. Every time something changes, take another dimension, and then figure out if it could be in a better location. And also, if it's not neat, it's wrong. Okay, so we will start through this, and I want to, are we going to do them all? I don't know. Let's go ahead and let's start from scratch. Okay, so you get into Inventor, looks like whatever, and we are going to do it from our default tiny dropdown. We aren't doing part files, we are doing drawing files. And it does force you to choose one of the templates if you just mouse over without clicking. it will show you those. We are just going to use the first one to avoid any sort of confusion, hopefully. Okay, so you get here and we have our full open space. It does zoom in and zoom out the way you would think, and it also will let you get the grippy hand, but I don't know. Whenever I see this, my instinct is to try to orbit it, but you can't pre-orbit it. It's just a piece of paper. And you'll see down here we have a text box. I want us to get in the habit of adding information to the document. It's a good practice. Okay. You do get the date already put in for you, which is nice. We are only going to add title and author on this, and this is relatively insignificant compared to other things, but it is still good practice. We're going to go to annotate, which the tabs we're going to use here mostly are place view and annotate. Annotate meaning like put marks on it in some way or another. And we just need a text box right here. And for the title, okay, we're just going to drag and make that. Let's call this one, well, first let's make it big and call it part A. Okay, if you make it small on accident and go part A and hit OK, that looks kind of small. The way you're going to edit it, well, first you need to get rid of the text tool. Right-click OK, right-click cancel, escape, whatever. And we can right-click edit text. And in order to change the size, you need to highlight it and change the size if you didn't do it the first time. Okay, so part A, and then we need one for name. You could probably fit it on the same thing if you had some creative way of doing it. And this one, I don't know, whichever you like for size, but do make it look. What happened? Did I not? I saw it there a second ago. And we'll hit OK, and I click OK, and then rearrange it so it's there. Okay, take a second, make it look good. All right, so now we need our views, our base views. So we'll go up to place view. We're going to click on base, and we're going to choose our part. Okay, this is where you're going to need to find in the Finder window your part files. Okay, so the default should be wherever you're saving it automatically, which is documents. And now if you do if you've been doing good naming conventions, it will be easy to find things. Give me a second. Let me, I need to find the things, and I don't want to dox people. Give me a second. Yes, I know it's still up there. There we go. Okay. So we'll go like that, and we'll go back to sharing. Sharing is caring. All right, so we'll start with part A, even though it's kind of complicated. So we chose it, and now is a good time to choose scale. And for scale, you can type in your scale. Okay, the default is 1:1, which is convenient for the scale we're working in, that this page is designed to be like 11 inches or something like that. And this thing right here, wait, actually, it's more than that. Are these things like 6? This might be a giant piece of paper. Either way, our part files are going to work kind of okay there as 1:1. Later on, you are going to have to adjust scale, or with other types of part files. You can adjust by dragging, but then it's only going up by integers, which 2:1 might not be right. 1.5 might be the best. You want it to be as big as possible without it being crowded. And in this case, 1 to 1 is probably fine. We'll hit OK. Okay, so we have one view here, and we want it to be kind of spaced in this area above sort of the extension here. And we're going to make projected views, which is this kind here. We need to then click on our base view and click 1, 2, 3, and then right click create. Okay. If yours doesn't look like this, as in it doesn't show the hidden lines, is it in here? That is the hidden line, this one right here, but don't worry about that. It should be the way that it comes in. Now, as far as it's not always going to be obvious which is the best direction to choose as your front view, but it is important to choose the best front view. And choosing the best front view is whichever angle of view gives you the most information about that object. Now, of course, here with, give me a projected view on automatic. Okay. Of course, a single view, a two-dimensional view, is not going to tell you everything about it. But if you had to choose between this L view and this straight-on view or this top view, I think the L view gives you a good idea of what the shape looks like. And for our green sheet parts, it's almost always going to be whichever we chose as front. And that's why it was chosen a front. But later on, you will need to choose one, especially if it's an original part. You get to choose what's front, and you're looking for the thing that has the most information about the part. Now, you can see it's automatically giving me the projected views, which if that works, fine. Okay, but either way, I've got one front view, and in order to move it, your cursor needs to go to like the edge where you get the green dots, and you can rearrange it. Now we need a projected view, and we want to say which view we want to project, which is this one. We need to click there, and then click once, click again, and then right-click create. And if you try to move the front one again, you'll notice that it moves all of them, so they are always lined up. Okay, if you try to move this one, it will only let you move it in that direction. And same thing with this one. And that's important because part of the communication you're doing is the having things line up gives you information. Okay. I actually do want to start out with a different part. Let's do well, I think it's frustrating to have these out of order because I would like to have them in order, but let's go with something relatively easy just so we know what it looks like. And what's a good easy one? Well, I, of course. Okay, so let's start with part I, and it chooses a good front view because of these. Okay, that doesn't tell you, it's just a rectangle. You have no idea that this one face is sloped. And top view, also, it's just a rectangle. It just looks like one is sloped. And so we'll go with this as the front. And you can see how when it does give me the projected views automatically. Part I. Okay, so this isn't in the best place, but it's automatically giving me the front, top, excuse me, right, top, and isometric. You still need to do right-click OK, and then you can rearrange them. Okay, so we'll go with that one out there. And again, we want it to be full but not crowded. And actually, I need to change this now. Edit text. It should be part I. And you can go ahead and just save it as you go, just so it doesn't ruin things. And you can call it part I, even if you called your part file part I, because it's going to save it as a drawing file, DWG. And it's not a bad idea to have the same name as whatever's being drawn there as the file name. So we can save it and make sure you're saving it in the same place, which will be in your documents. Okay, and I'm not going to save it just because. Okay, so we've got our 4 views: front, top, right, and isometric. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it standard, but probably a good idea. For the isometric one, let's do right click on it and go to edit view. And we can turn on shading. There's 3 different styles. Okay, the default is regular, hidden line remove. There is hidden lines visible, which will let you see what's going on. We almost never will do that for any sort of view that's 3D. We will do it for 2-dimensional views, but there are no hidden lines on this one. Okay, so there is hidden lines, no hidden lines, and you can see it's either hidden lines or no hidden lines, or hidden lines removed. And then this third one is shaded or unshaded. So you have to, these 3 buttons shouldn't be in a row because they're not equal. These first 2, you have to choose one or the other. And this one, you have to choose on or off. And if you have it on, it will make it look like the picture, which is what we're going to do for anything that's 3D. We aren't going to have hidden lines. So any 3D view, let's do that. Any 3D view, we're going to have hidden lines removed and shaded. The other ones will have hidden lines on. And once you do this a bunch, it will be super fast. And I wish I could make this the standard. And is it edit dimension style? I will get faster at this shortly. Text note. Is it this one? Is it table text? Okay, well, it's one of those 2. Okay, so our process is going to be, thank you, start on the left. Every time something happens, take a dimension. And that will do our width dimensions. Then we'll do height dimensions. Start at the bottom, work your way up. Every time something happens, take a dimension. And then depth, front to back, which depth is either from here going that way or from here going that way. I wish I had my drawing thing. Okay, so let's do the width first. Okay, starting on the left of everything, which you can choose either the point or the side. It will work the same here. First click, and the first thing that happens is where this edge turns into this edge. So we'll put a dimension there. Okay, and you get this edit dimension box every time. Please turn that off. Edit dimension when created. Hit OK, so that doesn't pop up. Okay, and of places this could go, this is as good as it can get. Okay, nothing's crossing over. It's between adjacent views, meaning in this area rather than this area. It's clean. It's the first one. It's fine. Okay, the next thing that happens, starting on the left, the only other thing that happens is total width, which we can put right there. And that's the best place to put that. Nothing crosses over. It's fine. Okay, height. Starting at the bottom, first thing that happens. So starting at the bottom, first thing that happens is this. And here on the front view is where it goes to a contour, which is what we want. On the right side view, it's whatever the opposite of a contour is, just flat. And so it's not what we want. And so this is in the best place for sure. And then the only other height dimension is total height, which could go here or here, but not both places. So we need to choose one of these 2 places. And I'm going to choose this one, I'm going to choose this one because the other one had extension lines crossing over. So we'll keep this, and that's total height. And then depth, total, the only depth front to back is the total depth, which could go here or here. Now, these are the same dimensions. They're not just the same number. They are literally dimensioning the same thing. They are dimensioning the distance from the front to the back, which means we only want one of them. And this is really your call. There is no difference between those two locations in this particular case. And that's it. That is part I. Save it. Boom. Okay. And let's do another one. Again, we're going to fly through this. Yeah, you can take that. Are we ready to do what's up? Oh, no, that's not what I want. You go to on one of the dimensions, you do right click, go to edit dimension style, and then under text, let's see if it's label text. Is that the one? Nope, it's not label text. It's the second one. Okay, so edit dimension style. And inside of this down on text, it's note text. Note text is what you want. Let's see what 0.4 does. Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. See it from space. All right. And we could probably get rid of the decimal points. That's not that hard. But we'll leave it for now. Okay, and that is a complete dimensioning for part I. Okay, if we went through, and you can do right click open and actually open the part file directly from the drawing file. If we look at the dimensions we needed to make it, we needed the total height, which we have 6. We needed the distance from the side to the start of the slope face, which was 5, is that one. And we needed the height of this ledge, which we've got 2. And we needed the amount of extrusion, which was 4, which is what we have here. Now, what's interesting is if we change this, like if we change this to 6, just to prove it, 6.25, and we hit OK, and we go back to the drawing, it will update. Okay, it update the drawing, the isometric view, and it updated the appropriate dimensions, which is neat. Okay, but we're done with this. So let's no save that. And is this gonna pop back? It's not gonna pop back. I think I may have broke something. Okay, either way, maybe let's do this in order. Who knows? Okay, so let's get a new drawing type. And first thing, let's annotate. Let's put a text here. Let's go first one, name. Your name, don't put James Smith. And then another one here, and we'll call it part A. And maybe this one a little bit bigger. And right click, done with the text tool, and now you can rearrange things. What's up? And we're back. Okay, so let's go ahead and so I've got that. Let's is there a shortcut to edit dimension style? The document settings, sketch drawing. It's somewhere in there. Okay, either way, we're on place views, and let's go ahead and place we'll just suffer through it and do part A. Hit open. For all these, the default view is probably pretty good. Default scale and default front is good. I'm just going to go ahead and do before I hit OK, the automatic projected views, which is 1-click, 2-click, and 3-click for the isometric, and right-click OK. And a good tip is if you're zoomed out and trying to line it up, the home key on your keyboard, if you have one, will fill the screen. And let's do a little rearranging. I want this bottom edge to be above this extended. And I want this one a little closer and this one over here. And the scale looks good, so we're going to go ahead. Okay, so let's annotate. We need dimension. And our rule is start on the left. Every time something happens, take a dimension. Okay, the first thing that happens is this edge. So we need a dimension there. Okay, and let's do the quick edit dimension style. Wish I could set this. It's probably a standard somewhere. Text and no text, and no, it's label text. Wait, which one is it? Yeah, okay. So let's, it is the middle one for future reference. Text and note text, and I'm gonna make mine again even bigger. Okay, so actually that might be too big, but we'll be fine. Okay, and so that's the distance to the start of this ledge. The next thing that happens going left to right is this hidden line, which is our first awkward choice. And so 4 is the distance from the side to where this notch starts or finishes. And we could put it here to a hidden line, which isn't good because hidden lines don't add information the way that a contour does. But the option up here has the extension line cross over the view, which is, I believe, higher up on this list of sins. Dimensioning on. Okay, going to a hidden line is worse than extension lines across view. So we're going to go with extension lines across view, which is this one. So we want to delete this. And the reason for that is it does actually go to a contour. It does go to a shape. Hidden lines don't add information by definition. You can't tell what they're doing the way a contour is. Okay, and continuing from left to right, the only other thing that happens is total width, which is fine there on the front view. We start on the left. Every time something happens, take a dimension. Okay, height. Starting at the bottom, go up. Every time something happens, take a dimension. The first height is the height of this ledge, which is 2. And we need to choose between these 2. And the front view offers a place to dimension to a contour. Okay, the contour is the edge of the shape. Okay, so we want this dimension to be where you can see the edge of the shape, where if we put it here, make it the height of here, it's dimensioning to an object line, but we don't know what that object line is doing, so it's not as good a place to put it. Okay, and going down from the bottom up, the next thing that happens is the height of this trough ledge thing. But on this front view, we don't really like it. It crosses extension lines here, and it goes to a hidden line. So we're going to put it here instead. There is the other option, and it's kind of the same, is if we put it there. Okay, you can dimension from the top down because eventually we'll have the total height. We wouldn't want both of these because they're both telling us where this edge is. So it's not really necessary. And so we don't want it. Okay, so that's where we need that one. And then the only other height dimension is total height, which total height can go either one of these views. Total height, total width, and total depth can really go anywhere because or on any of the options, or either of the options, because it's always going to be to a contour. It has to be. But either way, that is our total height. Okay, so let's do some depth front to back. Starting at the front, well, remember depth is this direction. This is front to back. Same thing over here. We're looking at on the right side view. This is front to back. Okay, but we're still starting at the front, and every time something happens, take a dimension. The first thing that happens going front to back is the distance from there to there. And this isn't ideal. It's the extension line is crossing onto the view. We could put it here, and this is significantly better. It is going to a contour. It's actually meeting all of our requirements. So I'm going to get rid of this one. And you can see how it's already popped it out automatically to the side, which is nice. You used to have to do that by hand or plan that ahead. Okay, then again, going back from the front to the next thing that happens is this, the distance of this ledge, which here on the top view is fine. The other place that same thing happens is this, and this is much worse. We're crossing over onto the view, so there's that. Okay, front to back, the next thing that happens is the other side of this. Okay, and I'm realizing that you might not be familiar or might not completely grasp the concept of the next thing that happens, but eventually you might. And so that is the distance from there to there, which same issue with this one over here. We don't want it on the view. Okay, and the next one, front to back, is the same as the other issue, where we want to do it where it's a contour, which we can do right here. Excellent. So we don't want this one. And then we can rearrange these so that it's nice and neat. We do want everything to be neat. That's part of avoiding confusion is neatness. And so we've got this location, and the only other dimension is total depth, which total depth can go here, or it can go here, but not both places. Your choice on that one. Okay. And you'll notice that if you are just starting now for some reason, the process of dimensioning, it's still a dimension tool. It's still click on one spot and then click on the other spot and then click where you want it to set, just like in a part file, with the difference being these dimensions are not for the sake of changing the size of something. The point of these dimensions are for communicating the size of something, but you're still using a dimension tool. Okay, and let me clean up the label situation, because that changes when we change dimension style or whatever, note label. And if we went back to the part A, we can double check. Okay, so we have total height, total width, and the extrusion is total depth. Good. We have these dimensions, but these dimensions, we have like the reciprocal or the complementary dimensions. And same as before, as long as you follow through with the patterns or with the step, the process, as long as you trust the process, it will get you where you need to get. Okay, so there's part A. We can just save it and call it part A drawing file. Okay, and let's do a couple more and then we'll catch up. I'll let you catch up. Okay, so new drawing file from our default little shortcut chevron. And so drawing and that one. Okay, let's go ahead and do part B. And again, this is a good start. Let's go ahead and do projected view 1, 2, and 3. Right click OK. And rearrange some things. And all of these are adding trickiness to them. Okay, so I forgot to put in the details. Let's go ahead and annotate text. Put the name here. And another text box here to describe the part. What's up? Who already went? There you go. Then, okay, what is this? Part B. And I'm not terribly worried about the oh no. Forgot about that. That's gonna be fun. I'm gonna when I go through and edit the dimension style, those will change and then I'll rearrange them. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. This one is also tricky. So starting on the left, the first thing that happens is that distance right there, which again, we'll do right click, edit dimension style. There has to be a default thing. Text and middle. There we go. And in fact, let's go ahead and make it my standard. This one. And I think this is where there's a way to affect precision. If you see that somewhere. Okay, well, either way. Precision and tolerance. There we go. That's one way to do it. So the first thing that happens is the size of this like step right here. And we have a few places to put it. Our default place would be above the front view, which is right here. This is not ideal, so we're going to keep looking. The next place we'll look is below the top view because that's still adjacent. Again, not ideal because we're going to hidden line. So now we're going to look outside of adjacent views, meaning up here or down here. And the best place to put it is right here. Okay, it's breaking the least amount of rules. Okay, so our options were hidden line, which is pretty bad. Extension lines across the view, which is the one on the front view, where the extension line had to go over on top of it. And our other option is not between adjacent views, which adjacent just means next to. So this one is not between adjacent views, but it's lower on the don't do it list. So we can put it there. Okay, so going back to the left side, the next thing that happens is this edge right here, which is fine on the front view. Okay, it goes to a contour between adjacent views. Nothing crosses over. It's as good as it gets. Okay, back to the left. The next thing that happens is this side of the tower part. And same thing, between adjacent views, nothing's crossing over. Goes to a contour, we're good. Okay, then back to the left, the next thing that happens is the same equivalent as before. We have the option of going to having the extension line cross over the view, which isn't the worst thing, but it's not good. So we'll look somewhere else. Going to hidden line also is even worse. So our last option, or our next worst option, is to put it outside of adjacent views, which means we need to get rid of this one. We need to get rid of this one. Now, if you think about, yes, this distance from the side to here is 7, but it's really about locating this point, which means we could also do it over here, in which case we would need to get rid of this one. So this is also a valid option, and I think it actually looks neater. This option follows our pattern a little better, and either is fine, but don't have both. And then from the left side, the only other width is total width, and there you go. That's it. Okay, now height down to up. From the bottom, first thing that happens is the height of that, which is, again, not ideal. It crosses over a view. Let's look somewhere else. Another place that height happens is there. Hidden line, which is even worse. We can put it here. And this is definitely the worst of those. You can put it here, and even though you can't see the extension line, that's fine. You could make an argument that this is a little bit more confusing because it's sort of all over the place. Of these two, just choose one. I'm going to choose that one. It's fine. Okay, then going back to the bottom, working our way up. The next thing that happens is the height of this ledge, which is fine. And then from the bottom going up, the only other height is total height, which of course we could put there or there. And we're going to keep the one on the right side view because we don't want to cross extension lines. So we did width left to right, height down to up. The only other dimension that we need to dimension is the depth dimension. And depth, the only thing that happens going front to back is the entire depth. Okay, and either one of these is fine. I'm going to keep it over here. It's fine. And there you go, part B. It might feel like a lot, like we're going to go through and do all these. Once you get good at them, it's really about 20 seconds a pop, maybe 30. The thing that takes the longest is changing the size of the text. Okay, so let's keep going. New part file, excuse me, not new part file. I am enjoying this computer. It's a little faster. Drawing, new drawing. Okay, base view. Let's go ahead and choose part C. And I'll just go ahead and hit OK. And now put it where I want. And then projected view, click on the view, click once to set it, click another, right click, OK. Or right click, create, I mean. Okay, and we'll make it look pretty, space it out so that it doesn't look crowded. We don't want the object line of anything to go outside of those borders. So we have our 4 views, front, top, right, and front, top, right isometric. Let's go ahead and put some text here. Wonder if we can do it in one. I don't know if this is a bad shortcut. That's not too bad. Got it on one text, which might be weird when I change the size, but we'll go with it. All right, so what's our pattern, our mantra? Start on the left, and every time something happens, take a dimension. The first thing that happens is this distance right here, which if we look at, it's not great on the front view because it doesn't go to a contour. Thank you. Why not save and close? It doesn't go to a contour like this line right here. Yeah. This line right here is an interior line. You don't know what it is. You can't tell that it's a notch, but our other options are not any better. Okay. This offers the same issues. It doesn't go to a contour. We don't know what shape that's happening the way like the outside shows us, but it's not a hidden line and it doesn't break any other rules. They are just equally suboptimal. So we'll just keep this one. Okay, left to right. The next thing that happens is this side, which again, this is not a contour. We're not in love with it. Let's look where else there is one. And that is the same thing as this. And again, it's not just the same number. It's literally dimensioning the same thing. And of these two 7-inch dimensions, the one I'm going to keep is the one on the top because here it goes to the edge of the shape. Okay, you can tell what it's dimensioning to. And then left to right, the only other thing that happens is total width, which total width, height, and depth can always go in on any of the views because it will always be to a contour and usually won't cross anything. Okay, so that's it. There's only 3 width dimensions. Height dimension, down to up. First thing that happens is that, which we don't like. It's suboptimal. The extension line is on top of the view. It crosses into the view. So second best option might be over here, which we like even worse because it goes to a hidden line. So our other option to dimension the height of this ledge is over here outside of adjacent views. And let's see which is worse. Extension lines across views is worse than not between adjacent views. So we're going to keep the one that's not between adjacent views. Let's get rid of this. Okay, and then height down to up. The only other thing that happens is total height, and it's good there. Okay, depth front to back. The first thing that happens is the distance from there to there, which is fine. Yeah, that's fine. Goes to a contour. This area is considered between adjacent views for depth dimensions, even though there's nothing over here. And that's fine. It's better than here, where here it's going to an interior line. It's not adding information, where we could do it here, and it shows that this notch is 2 inches back. And then depth front, the only other thing that happens is total depth, which I need to get dimension tool. Total depth is 4. And again, it can go either place, but not both places. And you could go like this. I kind of think that putting the dimension like essentially inside of this red dotted line counts as being on top, but not necessarily. And there you go, oh wait, that's why I need to make that. Maybe just 1 space is the right amount. I don't know. And there you go, part C. Okay, it will give you automatically the name of the part file, and you can just leave it. One of the only times you can just hit save without thinking about it. And what time? 9. Is it really 9 o'clock? Okay, so last one for today is going to be the part D, part D. And let's just go through it. Part D. And this one, could it be a little bigger? I don't know. 1-to-1 scale seems to be working fine for the green sheet parts. So let's do a projected view of this, there, and right click create. And oh, you know what I've been forgetting to do is on the drawing files, let's right click edit view and turn on shaded so that it's prettier. Okay. And if you didn't do it for A, B, or C, that's fine. I'll try to remember doing it for moving forward. Okay, so we have part D, and we'll do right click, edit view. We'll call this all the setup part. Putting our 4 views, making this one shaded, and putting our text, our text box with name. Wow. And part D. And I know that isn't the right spot, but I think it'll work fine once I change the dimensions or change dimension style. Okay, and so dimension tool, start on the left. The first thing that happens is sort of the width of this part over here. And it, on the front view, it's as good as it gets. It goes to a contour, and why can't save be enter? And that's good. The other places would be over. There's no point in even looking for another place for this one. It's fine. Okay, and left to right, the next thing that happens is this one. Again, good contour. And then left to right, the only other thing that happens is total width. And this is starting to get a little crowded. I'm going to give it a little more space. I want these to be evenly spaced. Looks good. Okay, now height down to up. From the bottom up, the first thing that happens is the height here, which we're between adjacent views. We aren't crossing over anything, but it's going to an interior line. This isn't adding information the way we could add information by putting it here, where we show that a height of 2 is a ledge. Okay, and so we'll go there. Then for height, down to up, the only thing that happens is total height, which could go there or go there. Technically, either is fine. I'm going to keep the one with shorter extension line. That's like a kind of a deep, slightly better choice decider, but there you go. And then depth front to back. The first thing that happens is the distance from the front edge to the that pop-up part, which we could put here if we had to, but it doesn't go to a contour, it goes to an interior line. So we can put it over here on the right side view where we do see a contour. Okay, and so we'll get rid of this one. And then depth, the only other depth is total depth, which could go either place here or here, not both places. I'm going to keep this one because it lines up. It's with another depth dimension, but that's just a personal preference. That's not a rule. And double check that my label looks good. I will center it like that. And there you go. Part D. Okay, that's where we're going to end it today. We're going to fly through a bunch of them next time. Don't you worry.